let's start sort of at the base of the pyramid, right? With what we typically call instinct. Okay? And as we go along, we're going to try and describe two aspects of each of these sort of ways of being energetically, as we could call them that. So the reason why instinct is at sort of the base of the pyramid, we're going to start there, is because it's really the kind of the oldest form of information processing that human beings have run on. Okay. And it kind of resides in our gut. And the reason why I say that is because our gut is a place where we register and process information that's coming at us. We've all had that feeling where we get surprised by something, startled by something, we get some bit of information or news, and we get that immediate feeling in our gut. And really, for simplicity's sake, the way we're going to define what the energy of that feeling is in what are the foundations of all human emotion, right? Really, human beings only have two emotions, and the rest of the things that we experience are kind of harmonics or shadings, or very simply things that we can call feelings about those two emotions. Those two emotions are love and fear. Love is the energy that opens us up and draws us towards things. Fear is the energy that stops us in our tracks, pulls us back, shuts us down, and makes us retreat. And we want to start with that as the foundation because that's the first reaction that we have to any kind of information that's coming our way. Either we receive some information, we feel like we want to open up to it, we want to move towards it, we want to get more of it from that source, or it stops us in our tracks and we want to retreat from it, we want to back away from it because it signals something unpleasurable or even dangerous. So in that dynamic, we can, and Call can definitely back this up in terms of her neuroscience brain. They talk about how we have very similar cells in our guts, in our gut biome, as we do in our brains, right? So,
well, we actually have brain cells in our gut.
There you go.
Yeah.
Even more clarity. So this idea of our gut being a center of how we sort and process information is actually being proven by science, right? But we can all, like I said, in an analogous way, think about that flush of feeling. We hear exciting news, it's like, oh, I get a feeling in my gut. We hear something that sounds scary or disappointing. Oh, I get a feeling in my gut, and they're very different to one another. So what we're going to assign for the purpose of our discussion, so we can all kind of agree on how to talk about it, and then, of course, come up with a better definition yourself if you're so compelled to, or something else hits you and you're like, actually, no, Dan, I think it's this, not this, is that the process that our instincts go through, that we locate and feel in our bodies, kind of in our gut, is decision, right? That's the first and most primal kind of reaction that we have to what we're going to call tonight our instinctual response to something. And that's to decide, do we move towards that thing? Do we move away from that thing? Really binary, really black and white, really, really simple. Part of the reason why we want to be really specific, simple, and clear about how we define these three things that we're talking about, instinct, intuition, and intelligence, is because we want to make sure that we're not confusing one for the other. And as we go, hopefully that'll get clearer as to why that's important. The other reason is that the simpler the concept, the easier it is to remember under pressure, right? Under stress, under duress of any kind. And the third reason why we want to define these really simply is because if we can think of them clearly and simply, we can apply them clearly and simply, and we can keep them in alignment because we understand what each of them is and what each of them isn't. Right? So instincts are governed by the emotions of love and fear. The process of our instincts is to help us decide, move forward or pull back. Right? Very connected to our fight or flight response. There are some really other powerful shades in there that Colleen will describe really beautifully, right? Between fight or flight, but at the primal basis, those are kind of the driving energies that we most immediately register with. Do I move towards it or do I back away?